Hello, welcome to the Sprinter Van Build series. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 3, which is the ceiling fan installations. If you're new to the channel, we are going to be putting out 22 videos around this van build. If you go back and look at the description, they will be listed as I roll them out. I will make sure all the links are there, and this is all going to be listed in one playlist. I am trying to get all the products that I used also in the description. This way you can reference it and then source it where you need to get it, the items from. So let's get started. This is a picture of the MaxxFan Deluxe that I put in, and this is with the fan. This shows the fan in a down position off, and this is what it's like when it goes up. I have two of these in my van. I have one in the front and one in the back. On the roof of the van, you'll see these ribs here. We're going to be talking about these further, but I just wanted to highlight them now because it's going to be part of the build in a couple slides going forward. But again, we did two fans. The reason I did that is I wanted airflow. I could have one where there's air coming out of the van, and then the other one there's air coming into the van, and it has a nice circulation pattern with there. How are we going to get started? The metal roof of the van is not strong enough just to be able to screw the fan into the metal. What I did is I went in and decided I was going to make wooden frames, and the wooden frames were going to be the same opening dimension of, this is the roof bracket that, and you can see in this one, you see it's a little arched. This is designed to go over the rib of the van. And then this is the MaxxFan mounting bracket. So this you're going to have to pick up from somebody on eBay, and I'll give you a description there. And this comes with the fan kit. First thing I did was I was going to build wooden frame, and wanted to make sure my wooden frame, the inside diameter, matched exactly to the mounting bracket that I purchased. That way, when we put this mounting flange, which is part of the fan kit, on top of this, everything is lined up. And that would be like this. So the way we're going to look at it is the wood frame's going to go inside the van. Then we're going to have this black frame mounted on the outside of the van to make the surface flush. Then we're going to have the mounting bracket on top of this flange part, on top of the black mounting brackets. We're going to create a sandwich on the roof. The other thing to point out is, while we're here, these metal brackets here, these metal brackets are what the fan will screw into from outside of the van on the roof once we're done with that part. Let's get into making the frames. With the frames, I decided that I just have a Kreg jig. I like the Kreg jig. That's what this device is here. And what the Kreg jig does is it allows you to put a piece of wood into this little bracket here, and then screw holes into the wood on an angle, and it creates a little pocket. And that allows you to, this is the pockets here that it does on an angle. So this way it allows you to put two screws into this, and it is a solid connection, and I glue it as well. So I put pocket holes in two of these boards and then screwed it in accordingly. The next thing I did is I took Gorilla Glue and then glued these together. Simply put a little on each end, screwed them together, and then you had a frame that looked like this. Like I said, this frame is going to go inside of the van, and these two pieces are going to go out on the outside of the van. So the next thing that I did is I took the frame and I sort of put it in the area that I wanted to put it in. And then I screwed another piece of wood. This is the roof rib. This is a support beam, on the van. What I did is I screwed it at this point, and then I screwed it up on this point, and then this is just sort of there being pressed against it, and it allowed me to move it around and position it. This is a different picture of it. So the next thing I did is I drilled a hole along this edge, one on each side, and on the inside edge here, okay? And the reason I was trying to do that is I wanted to get my two lines going from the driver's side to the passenger side, depending where you live, from the driver's side to the passenger side, And then this way we can have our straight lines up on the roof. Then back up on the roof, my holes are here. Then I position my frame because this is automatically going to center it. I took my Sharpie marker and I marked the van roof. Pretty simple. And you can see my holes are here. Next thing I did is I was now going to tape the van because I don't want that to get scratched when I use my saw. And then on the inside, what I did is I just clamped on plastic from the roof beams just to be able to collect any of the metal filings because I didn't want the metal filings to go all over the van. Next thing I did was drilled a pilot hole in each corner. And then what I did is I went and got a bigger bit and I was going to expand the hole to make it large enough where my jigsaw blade is going to be able to fit, and I'm not going to show you the cutting with the jigsaw blade. So the next thing I did is I just went cut from hole to hole, to hole, to hole, to hole, and it came out. And you can see these are rounded here, and this is the piece that I cut out. It's pretty simple. As my father-in-law would always say to me, measure twice, cut once. You do not want to have any mistakes here because you just can't fix that hole. The next thing that we did was we filed it down nice and smooth, and then we painted it with a Rustoleum black paint just to make sure we got a rust prohibitive material on there. The next step we did is you're going to need to get 3M Windo Weld in this description. The product's going to be listed in the description with a link back to Amazon, so at least this way you can pull up all the product specs and source it wherever you want to get it from. We want to put a nice bead all the way around. You can see this is the cut-in area on both sides. That's going to fit over the rib. Next thing you do is you just place it down. That's simple. Line it up, make sure everything is nice and even. Next step, take the same window well. I put 2 beads of caulk around there. And then what I did is I clamped the 2 of them together and created a sandwich. So we have the wood on the inside of the van, we have the metal van, and we have the mounting bracket that we're going to get. Like I said, the link is in the description and it's available on eBay. Clamp that, let that set. This is a picture from inside of the van. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the white mounting flange that came with the MaxxFan and also with the kit. They have this caulking tape, so you put that on the bottom of the mounting flange, and then we mount this over the hole. Again, the brackets are on the passenger and driver side of the van. The next thing you want to do is you can see all these holes. We are now going to have to pre-drill holes through the metal, through the black plastic, into the metal, and then the wood, and just make sure they're small enough holes. And then once you're done, take stainless steel screws, make sure they're stainless steel. Make sure you screw this down tight so that way we're going to compress the wood, the sealants, the black, the sealants, with the flange plate, and everything is nice and tight. The next step we're going to do is we're going to take the Dicor sealant. Again, this will be in the description and a link. And we're going to nice and heavily put this caulk sealant down over the edges to seal up all the screws and let it actually go onto the roof so it seals it here. There's no neat way of putting this stuff down. It sort of flows and you got to let it flow. You can't, I tried it and I just can't keep it in a nice even fashion. So that's that. And then once this all dries, you will then take the fan from the outside and then the mounting brackets will screw the fan into these, and then that's how it holds up. The other thing you want to look at is a future maintenance thing. You always want to go back, every few months and just make sure all these screws are tight, and all you got to do is lift the fan up and then that will, you can tighten the screws down. This is what it looks like inside the van once the fan is mounted. As I mentioned earlier, as you can see here, there is no rib in the center here, and this is the front of the van. The mounting bracket that you get from eBay, it will be different if you're going to put the fan here versus if it's going to go over a rib. All that stuff is going to be in the description. It's a picture of the 2 different flange plates. This is the one for around the round area, and you can see this one is sort of cut in for. I drilled a hole through the frame Once the fan is here, you have the little wire coming down, and then these are the two wires that came out that I had ran, and then I just pushed them all back in, and the finished product looked like that. These are the two remotes that go with the fan, so one's in the front, one's in the back. This is a flush, the finished trim kit that you would put into the van. And again, that's all easy to put in and all self-explanatory, so I just wanted to show you how that would finish out. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section and I will get back to you. Thank you.